One. Good morning. Welcome to the Steve and Tim Show. Your host, Steve Trout and Tim Smith. Uh, how you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing great. Sooner or later, I'm going to reach to the screen and smack you because it's trot, not trout, but I like it.
It's Trot.
So it's trot, not trout. Yeah.
All this
There
time.
are fit. There are like 57 million trouts in the world and
Yeah.
very few trots. So we're one of the few out there.
Yeah. I wish you would have
But
corrected
no,
me.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't
Does,
mind at all. You know how
does
many
anybody
people
else
call me
mess it
that?
up or is it just me?
No, trust me, everyone
Okay.
messes it up.
Nobody
You
messes
are
my
you
name up.
you fit right into that. And to be honest with you, I thought it would be a good segue because I said it at that time
Yeah.
because today's topic is going to touch on the 10% rule. And that is basically you are in control of 10% of what you're dealing with, what you encounter, what you plan, and 90% of what's around you, number one, you can control, and it deals with how you react to it.
Yeah.
So, could I be personally offended and be like, oh my gosh, Tim, you keep screwing my name up, keep
Mhm.
screwing my name up? No, who cares? But just react to it in a simple way and move forward.
Yeah.
But today's topic is key because so many people struggle with personal development
Mhm.
and positive mindset and self doubt and everything we've covered up to this point. And then you hit that 10% rule. And it's like, if you're spending way too much time worrying about the things you can't control, you are not going to obtain your milestones and your success that you're looking for. You can't worry about that 90%. That there's so much around you that you can't control. It will haunt you if you spend too much time on it.
Mhm.
And it's key. And it goes back, you can really dive into details if you want to. Maxwell, most everyone knows John Maxwell. If you don't, I recommend you pick up some of his books and read them because they're great stuff. And Maxwell is an inspiration to a lot of people, but
Mhm.
he works these rules into play. He's got a couple different rules, the 90-10, the 10-80-10. There's all these different rules about energy and how you plan your day, how you function, what you focus on, what's important, what's not important. And it's critical. It's critical to success in today's world. Um, so for all the listeners, that's today's topic. We're going to share a couple ideas and share some real life situations to say that we're human too. We're human.
Yep.
I suffer with the I suffer with the 90-10 or the 10-90 rule every day. I literally find myself thinking about things I shouldn't worry about, worrying about tomorrow's decisions that aren't here yet. And again, I have to remind myself, worry about what you can control. And I'm sure it goes the same way for you, Tim.
Absolutely. And I'd like to touch on why you should focus on the 10%. One key factor, it reduces stress so much. If you just focus
Big
on
time.
10 things at
Big time.
10%, to give you a good example, driving down the road. So I started riding motorcycle again about a year ago. You got to be very careful and
Oh
watch.
yeah.
And you get frustrated when somebody pulls out in front of you. But all right, what are you going to do? Just back off? Or are you going to speed up and start yelling and screaming at them, which is going to do nobody good except raise your stress level.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and also increase productivity too, because instead of focusing on all that negative energy, focus on what's important in life, and it's just going to help you produce more.
Yeah, and if you're spending too much time on what you can't control, what are you actually achieving on the list of things that you need to get done?
Mhm.
And very few people have that perfect day where they get done the day and they're like, wow, I got everything done on my list. There's very few people in the world that probably have that day. The problem is there's so many people that by the afternoon or they're nearing finish time and they're like, geez, I feel like I didn't get a lot done today, or I feel like I didn't get this done, or didn't get this. Oh, I never did this. Oh, I didn't do this. What are you doing? Well, what you're doing is you're spending a lot of your time worrying about the things and dealing with the things that you can't control.
Yeah.
So it's chewing up that critical time that you have for task planning and projects and work and development. Some people live by these nuggets, and it's interesting. I can't do it. I've tried,
Yeah.
but some people plan their day and make these little segments, and they're like, okay, I have a 30-minute work pocket right here. and then I'm taking a 10-minute break, and then I'm making a cup of coffee, and then I'm coming back to work for 40 minutes, and then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to go for a walk, and then I'm going to come back and do a conference call, and then I'll make lunch. And they have their entire day mapped out in these little segments. And maybe that works.
Mhm.
But I think it has a lot to do with what your career is.
Correct.
If you're working behind a computer, if you're working at a desk or something, maybe you can play the
Mhm.
nugget game like that. Well, for some of us, we're on the road throughout the day. We're project planning. We're on site. We have different meetings with clients. We cover a lot of territory. We're ordering materials. We're meeting suppliers. Um, that's never worked for me. And
Well,
even if you try and structure it that way, you find yourself worrying about
mhm.
so many things to try and hold yourself to this strict schedule that you end up being less productive because you spent so much time worrying about it.
Correct.
And it's a real thing. I deal with it all the time.
Yeah, I know I struggled. I mean, technically have three businesses that I run, and I struggled thinking, okay, all right, I'm working on this. Oh man, I should be doing this. And then I actually, when it comes to technology, I love technology. I embraced it. I've gotten really good with AI, ChatGPT. So
Okay.
I had ChatGPT build me a schedule of,
Right.
okay, so many hours here, so many hours there, and I follow that. And that helps me focus. But yeah, so
No, it's
it's challenging.
important. And it's important. And we're two good examples of two totally different
Mhm.
fields of work. Right now with
Right.
your agencies and some of what you're doing, that makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
And to some degree, I can follow a little bit of that daily schedule too.
Mhm.
But the reality of it is, if I'm on a job or I'm with customers or we're in the middle of installing cabinets in a kitchen project and client A calls me from another job,
Mhm.
well, guess what? I'm I'm pausing from the current task to
Mhm.
deal with the task at hand. And everyone knows what that's like. Everyone deals with the what ifs. Yeah, but again, focus on what you can control.
Correct.
Pause what you need to pause, take that phone call, apply the focus where you can. And
Mhm.
if it's outside that area of focus, get back to your plan as soon as you can. And I think that's where people get off track. They'll
Yeah.
get they'll get derailed at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then at the end of the day, they're like, oh geez, today was a bust. But I'm
Yeah.
like, it never had to be a bust. Just just control what happened in the morning to get yourself back on track.
Correct. I I'd like to give a homework assignment out to our listeners and
Oh,
have
I
them
love homework. I
and
don't like
have
doing homework, but I
no,
like
I don't
giving
either.
homework.
But and have them come back to us in the comments the results. So it's a self-reflection exercise. So make a list of current challenges that you have, identify which aspects that you can control, and then discuss them with yourself and with other people and see what you come up with.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. So, I mean, because you make that list and you see, okay, the problems that I have throughout my day, what can I control? And just mark those, which ones you can control and which ones you can't. The ones you can't, discard them and focus on those ones you can.
Right. Let's make sure we include that
We'll
when
do.
this rolls out. Well, because that would be great. And I'm with you. I want to see what people come back with.
And
And
I'll even
along
make a
those
list too, and I'll comment mine in there.
yeah, I really do. I want to see what people come back with because this is a real life exam. I mean, this is as real as it gets. I mean,
Mhm.
I know for a fact right now, and if you're listening to this and you're going to deny that you don't suffer from worrying about things that are out of your control, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to me. You're lying to Tim, and you're lying to whoever else is listening to you when you say it. So the reality of it is, you have to force yourself into the right mindset to understand that a things will always go wrong.
Mhm.
Your no one's life is perfect. I think Matthew McConaughey touches on that pretty often when he talks. Life is not easy. I
No,
mean, it's one of his famous lines. Your life is not perfect. It never will be perfect. If you say
no,
it's perfect, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everyone else.
correct.
And that's a hard reality that people need to learn. So stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about chasing perfection.
Mhm.
Chase getting better.
Yeah.
Just get a little bit better and stop chasing perfection.
Yes.
And
Focus on your inner
it,
self.
you have to. You have to. It's too important. Um, it's it's a tough one. It's one that I don't honestly. I don't know that I'll ever solve it. I mean, it's not solvable. You just have to work through it, and it's a daily battle. It's one of those daily struggles. And if you're getting better and better every day,
Mhm.
then you're doing something right.
Yeah. I mean,
That's the key.
and this even goes back to our very first episode, the mindset. So, I mean, this will affect your mindset so much. And your mindset can help this. If you have that positive feeling and you can go out there and accomplish things, you can overcome the 90%, you know,
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it affects everything. Hey, a great example would be, kitchen installation we did years ago. We do it for a client that I later found out a friend of mine, not really a friend, but a colleague, someone I knew, had also bid the project, and we were competing against them. We got awarded the project. Turns out, price point wise, we were a little less money. And then we included some features for the customer that they weren't going to include. So they were spending a little less and
Mhm.
getting a little better end result. Well, months go by and I end up in a little bit of a confrontation with this guy because he's like, "Hey, what do you know, why are you messing with my?" I'm like, "Look, number one, I didn't even know you were bidding the project. Number
Mhm.
two, it wasn't meant to be competition.
Yeah.
We're all out there in the same world, and that's part of that worry. I needed to process all of that in that moment
Mhm.
when that confrontation happened and realize that I can't worry about him. I can't worry about him taking that negatively, thinking that I was like undercutting his business or trying to take his potential client or any of that. He's never worked for them. I've never worked for them.
Mhm.
We're all out there on a level playing field and we're doing what we know how to do. And you win some, you lose some. And if it had been the other way around and I would have lost out on that, I would have had to deal with that,
Mhm.
stomach it, and realize, okay, I'm going to apply some thought process to this and I'm going to do better next time.
Yeah.
It's worry, focus and worry on what you need to worry about. And I think people get themselves off track very, very, very frequently with that.
And for the listeners out there, if you have a situation like this and it's a friend, send them a link to this video. It might help
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Because honestly,
Yeah.
they're worrying about something that they're spending time and energy on that they never should. Go ahead and start chasing the next job.
Yep.
They, in that moment, are spending way too much time and energy worrying about something completely out of their control. If your main competitor shows up with a brand new idea, and let's just say their business is only a few miles from you, and you've got this idea that you haven't done yet, and then it turns out they're doing it, are you going to sit and feel sorry for yourself because it was your idea and they did it first? Or are you just going to jump in the game and start doing your thing? Because again, it, competition's out there.
Yeah.
It's not, this world is not meant for us to fight each other. There's enough work for everybody.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, stop worrying about it and focus on yourself, focus on your goals, and move forward.
Yeah. I mean, in my asphalt business, I coach people that are locally here. And people always say to me, like, why you coach your competition? I said, they're not competitors, they're colleagues because there's so much asphalt out there. There's so much work. So yeah, you just
I completely agree. I mean, in the remodeling industry alone,
mhm,
I mean, my goodness, like some of the Facebook groups I'm in, it's crazy.
mhm.
Somebody posts, "Hey, looking to get my kitchen remodeled." I don't even interject anymore.
No.
Like within an hour, there's like 60 recommendations. And I'm like, okay, I live 10 minutes away from every one of these contractors.
Mhm.
And who's who does what. And some of them, like, do they even do kitchens? Because it says so and so trim work or so and so painting contractor.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting their business,
No.
but the person asked for a kitchen.
Yeah.
How many kitchens do you install? I know we do kitchens.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not looking at that anymore and saying to myself, "Oh, that's my bread and butter. That's my streamline to get these jobs." No. And sometimes a friend of mine or associate, you've done it before, Tim. Like,
Mhm.
they'll comment in there, say, hey, give Steve a call or call MT Builders.
Yep.
That's as good as anything. I don't need to comment myself.
Correct.
If someone else wants to recommend me to them, it's up to them at that point.
Mhm.
And then the sad thing is there's contractors that will then start to message that person. So not only did they comment on their post and they recommended their own company, now they're going to send them a private message and say, hey, I'm so and so, and I do this and I do that, and I can help you with your project. When would you like to
Correct.
meet?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. They weren't asking for that person was not asking for a sales experience.
No. No.
They're
This is
asking for a
determined.
recommendation. Right.
Yep.
But what do you have? If you want to go back and survey those people doing things that way, what are they doing? They're worrying about things that are outside their control.
Correct.
They have no control over who that client decides to interview for that kitchen. So put your information out there and walk away.
Exactly.
Do your part and move on. And that
Yeah.
it's such a full circle experience. And you want to talk about productivity? If you can get yourself out of this worry factor and the self-doubt factor that we touched on last episode, your productivity will go through the roof.
Oh yeah.
You will be so much more productive with your time.
Oh, absolutely. And some good ways to get over the the these issues is, overcoming these challenges such as mindfulness practicing, just thinking what is the right way to handle these situations.
Mm-hmm.
Take a deep breath. I mean, I use the traffic one because I think that happens a lot with people. When somebody does cut them off, take a deep breath. The best thing is nobody got in an accident, nobody got killed.
Yeah.
So just relax. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I get frustrated when driving, and I mean, we're out in the road a lot, and it gets crazy, but don't let it consume.
Well, yeah. And nowadays, GPS is pretty good for it. But like, how many times do you get in your car and you're heading off to a meeting or you're heading off to a job? Next thing you know, there's construction,
Mhm.
or you live in town, and now I don't know, you're heading down a main street through a couple towns and you hit every single red light on the
Yeah,
way to work.
especially through
You
Europe.
know what? Listen, no one was playing puppetry
Hmm.
and controlling those red lights. So why worry about it? Why you can't let it ruin your day? If you're going to be a little late, you're going to be a little late.
Yeah, there's
Like
a reason you're gonna.
move right. Worry about that 10%. Stop worrying about what you can't control and move on with your day. And you'll see that positive mindset show up, less self doubt, and you will have a more successful day than you would have if you decided worried about all those problems.
Correct.
Um, there's so many simple examples of this that I can't, how many people they show up, they're grumpy, they're late, something happened. I don't know. Coffee spilled in the car.
Yeah.
They hit every red light coming through town. I'm like, all right, fine. So we're gonna have that kind of day.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to have that kind of day. Leave it in the car.
No, because it
It
puts everybody else in a negative mood.
it changes everything, and all because they're worrying about something they can't control.
Yeah. With being late,
So no,
it's one of my phobias, by the way. I legit have a phobia of being late for things. So I'll leave. I'm that guy that leaves 30 minutes earlier than I need to.
and still sometimes late.
Very rarely. No, I could
Very rarely.
when I worked in a corporate job and I had to be there at a certain time, I could probably count on one hand over a
Right,
25-year period that I've been late.
right. Okay,
But
okay.
that helped with stress too, because I wasn't stressed because I knew I had plenty of time to get there.
Well, that's key. That's key. I mean, I can't say that so much. My life in general seem
Well,
rather
9
busy.
kids.
Yeah, right. So, but I have those days. I have those days. Some days I find it happening more if I'm going somewhere I've never been before.
Correct.
If I'm going somewhere I've never been, I am way early, and then I'm like beating myself up because I'm like, all right, why am I here 35 minutes early?
Yeah,
But I was prepared for everything. I was prepared for the helicopter scoop down out of the sky and like hit the top of my car or something like that.
exactly.
What else can I prepare for?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, and I may have shared this in the past, but as a first responder as well,
Mhm.
it's like I drive 83 in Pennsylvania every day.
Yeah.
And for those listening that are outside the state, 83 is our highway to nowhere.
I
It's
got
like,
goosebumps just saying you saying
yeah.
it.
And I drive 83 every day, multiple times. And it's like, it's a reminder for me that there's an accident on that highway every single day. It's like 81.
Mhm.
Um, People drive ridiculous in today's world. Now, do I worry about it? Sure. But that's a good worry
Mhm.
because inside of that worry, I can control how I fit into that mix. I'm going to drive safely. I'm going to stay in my right lane whenever I can, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as a first responder, like I was mentioning, there's been plenty of times where I'm heading up the road and I either witness an accident or it just happened. And I'm like, I'm that person. I'm going to stop. I'm going to make sure everyone's okay. I'm going to see if anything needs to be done. But the reality of the situation is, if you're going to be late with a purpose. Don't be late because you lacked at planning, or don't be,
Mhm.
it's hard to explain, but if you're going to be late, make sure it's a rare situation and make sure it's purposeful, or it was because something that was out of your control.
Correct.
Um, and I think that's important for a lot of people because, again, you hit the nail on the head. For those that do show up late or they're in that negative mindset, as soon as that happens, it puts a flounder. It flounders that whole day,
It's like a
and it just
domino
drives.
effect. It just
It is. It just drives everything down. Next thing you know, you're going to have a bad morning, then maybe a bad lunch, or you're going to go somewhere and get lunch, and they're going to serve you something that's not cooked the whole way or burnt. And guess what? That's just the luck of your draw. Welcome to life.
Mhm.
But you're going to say that the world's against you.
Oh
What's
yeah.
everyone say? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
everybody's working against me today.
Yeah.
No, no, you're just worrying about way too much.
Yeah. And then you're going to take that negativity and come home with it. And then you're going
Mm,
to just grumpy and the kids and the wife,
yeah,
kids. But I think the main goal with this episode was to tell the listeners just to, channel your energy into productive areas and, it's going to lead to better results and it's going to reduce your stress level and it's going to help you
you
be
have to.
productive.
You're 100% right, and the takeaway is just that. I mean, you can't even really expand on that, and it's the perfect segue to know that we're coming back to bring you more good stuff. But channel that thought process. Channel that thought process to key. Apply it to good decision making, good planning, and realize that if you do fail or something goes wrong, it you have to be able to move on from it. You have to repair that in that moment and step forward and
Mhm.
be positive about the next decision and not worry about the things that you can't control. And I love the homework. I can't wait to see what people do.
Yeah.
And these not, what I like about this is these nuggets are meant to be short.
Hmm.
These nuggets are short because when you're driving to work, I don't want you to just have time to listen to one episode. I want you to listen to two or three,
Yeah.
and or go back and listen to one over again.
Hmm.
This is something you can hear day in and day out and apply it to your own life and realize that you can continue to get better at what you do every single day.
Yeah. And
And to me, that's what's most important.
exactly. Another thing I'd like to touch on. So when I talk to people and they're saying, "Hey, I got a problem," if it's one of my coaching clients, I say, "Okay, what's your opportunity?" And
Right.
because it's not a problem, it's an opportunity, and it may be a problem, but it is an opportunity for you to shine and to be the best person you can be. So
Yeah.
using simple mindset things like that, instead of saying, "I have a problem, I have an opportunity. Can you help me with that?"
Yeah.
So I just, and that goes back to
Yeah.
mindset.
Failures. I agree. Failures and mistakes are actually spelled opportunity.
Mhm.
Like, and if you can't adopt that mentality, I'm sorry, you're missing out
Yeah,
because a failure and a mistake is your next golden ticket. Literally, it's the golden buzzer on the America's Got Talent stage.
correct.
Like, if you fail at something, you are looking at your next biggest opportunity in fixing that failure.
Exactly.
So
100%.
no, it's great. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. I'm liking these short little nuggets, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to do more.
Yeah. So everybody, of course, like I always say, like, share, subscribe, show us the love, get us out there so we can help more people. And,
Absolutely.
and it's always been a pleasure as always there, Steve. Can't wait to talk.
And for those of you wondering, most people realize, but no, that is not my kitchen in the background. Uh,
I like it
from
though.
from the first release, I got 2 or 3 messages the other day that
Yeah.
were like, "Wow, what a great kitchen!" I'm like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not mine.
Did
They
you
they ain't no nine kids living in that kitchen.
did you ask them if they wanted you to build a kitchen for them like that?
Hey, I'll build you that kitchen all
Yeah.
day long, but that's not mine.
Yeah.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I appreciate it, Tim.
Yes.
Thank you everybody for following along and like, share, comment, send us a note, send us your questions, and we're gonna keep hammering this out.
All right. Thank you. Everybody have a blessed day and go out there and just, try your best and keep your head high.
That's right. Keep getting better.
All right. Take care, guys.